This event is about transition, and transition can be anything. Can you pick one of the most important, like keystones for you, which are important for you at the moment, as a transition from youth to adult life?
Yeah, I think I would go a little bit back in time. The most important transition was for me leaving high school in Denmark when I was 19 and trying to figure out what I should do. And there is a tradition that you don't go in Denmark, that you don't go directly from your high school to further education. You spend some time feeling a little bit the world. So I worked for 1 year. I met a man who was 10 years older than me, that I fell in love with. And then I decided to leave him and I traveled to Cambodia for 6 months, working, volunteering with an NGO, working on women's rights. And that really waked me up. So politically, I would say I became political, not politician, but became political in that transition. So it was a very special time for me, going through all kinds of feelings and sensing a little bit the adult world with this man who was older than me, but also finding myself as a political human being.
So basically, the experience. So you reckon maybe the advice you can give is like when you in transition, try to get as much experience, and you find out. You can't just sit
I think
and
there is a
think.
tendency all over Europe that transitions should be limited. So you go directly from school to further education to work, and you should limit the transitions. But I think you should sometimes think twice about that, because I think we miss a huge opportunity for people to actually experience the world and experience themselves, and that's also part of transitions to an adult life. I mean, it's finding out who you are, testing some grounds, going into areas you had no idea you would enter, and that kind of experience cannot be quantified. You cannot put it into a finance ministry's database, but it's hugely valuable, I think, and cannot be underestimated. So for me, transition, it's of course to make sure that when you finish this testing phase, you can go somewhere. I mean, and it's also to make sure you can have a job once you need a job. I mean, but also to allow a little bit of life search.
Okay, how do you see it in? You said that maybe people already in politics they try to minimize the transition and make it as easy as possible. But it shouldn't be easy. It should be loads of experience. But and maybe people at Edgeryders they're more into like we're looking for stuff. And what will be the best way to to communicate in this sense, like to basically transfer the um, um, the the other view on transition, because you have a different view on transition. It's like a rite of passage. How do you think it can be transferred into policy?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a bit of
I
a
mean,
weird question, but
I can put it the other way around. In Denmark, my country, the former government decided that people needed to speed up, so they almost didn't want any transition phases at all. It should just go from one thing to the next, and people should finish their educations as quick as possible. So they made an incentive for people to start right after high school at university or other further education. So you would have an easier access to the further education if you did it immediately. If you waited, you wouldn't have this easy access. So that was an incentive, and I can see now on my younger brother's generation that it actually works. So people are limiting now their transition phases, and and um, and I think you need to give space. So you should remove those kinds of very tough incentives to just go ahead.
mm,
Because what we also see is that when people then are 21 or 22, they maybe picked the wrong education. They were not really sure. Maybe they want a completely different thing, or they have depression, so they become stressed. So this busy youth, I think we need to remove the incentives that are today in the policies and allow a little bit space. On the other hand, that's my one of my views. The other is also that, of course, when the young person is then ready to pick up an education, to go and after education to go for work, there should be work and education for everybody. So that's also a political responsibility to really make sure that people can access education and work. So that it's two-sided, I would say.
So people get stressed both from the policies which speeding them up, but also from the situation. If situation takes a long time to change, then policies, incentives can be actually changed a bit quicker in terms of stress as a political rhetoric.
Yes, and I think, yeah, and as you say, political rhetoric is important. Actually, we can see now that young people in Denmark, they hurry much more because of these incentives, but also because politicians have been saying, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
So it became a general discourse in some sense.
And they hurried up, and now they finish their education at 24, and unemployment is huge. So they fairly ask now, what was the point? Why did we have to hurry up this much?
Yeah, I can really relate to it. It sort of feels like someone from social sciences really seeing things. It's really nice talking to you. I was just wondering, maybe just the last question about Edgeryders.
Yeah.
How do you think, like, what the potential you see in Edgeryders community and specifically in this event?
Well, I sensed immediately when Alberto from Edgeryder visited my office just over here in Strasbourg that it was something interesting also for me to understand a little bit better. So as I see it, I don't know Edgeriders that well, but as I see it, the value is that you allow ideas to grow from people who are not completely who are not in politics in everyday life, who are not in formal politics and thinking, oh, that's not possible, that's too expensive, but you allow really ideas to grow, and I sense some kind of empowerment feeling also among people here. Yes, of course, we politicians have a responsibility, but also people themselves, and they want to create something and offer something and do something, and not just sit and wait for politicians to do it. And that's where I see the partnership. And politics can be very limited in its thinking. So political thinking can be quite in boxes, and sometimes ideologies can also, I mean, it can be a barrier. Sometimes it's good, other times it can be a barrier to really think open-minded. And here an initiative like Edgeriders is something that is radical. It's out of the box. And that's really nice for me.
Yeah, thanks.
I used to be a civil society active myself, so entering formal politics is also a bit stiff. So I need this contact, and I need people like you really, so to shake me up.
Do you have like one more minute, because just for the last question about your transition from civil society into politics, can you say something about that?
Yes.
That will be interesting.
Well, I was working especially in development fields with NGOs. I was in Cambodia. I was doing youth work, solidarity work. And then at one point in these organizations, they told me, you are too political. You always want to change the trade schemes in the world. You address the government all the time for not doing enough. You want to change the development policies, and I thought, well, you're probably right. I might need a political party also as a kind of what would you say, ideological horizon to all this work that I'm doing, and some kind of place to address the structural issues. So I would still say I still go to demonstrations, I still participate in workshops and so on. I'm not completely lost contact to civil society, but I think this combination, I actually like it a lot. Also to be able, I think that formal politics is very important, and I believe in it. It doesn't always deliver, but I believe that it can be delivering huge results for people. So I want to be on both levels in a way.
Yeah, this sounds like a right decision, because that's the dialogue people try to establish.
Yeah.
And it's like in some cases just your own experience can format you in a way that you actually go in there, but you don't lose the contact with civil society, and that's cool. That's really good. Okay, so if I suppose you have to go soon, so I
I
think
think so, yeah.
unless you want to say something else, just like some message to Edgeriders,
Well,
or
thank
you
you.
did that.
Thank you. It's very inspiring for me, and keep up the good work, and keep building Europe. I mean, basically that's what you do. And as a European, not just a Danish MEP, but as a European in my heart, I really love this engagement. So I'm just happy to be here, and to also to have gotten to know this project.
Thanks.